Can I share a little secret with you? I'm exhausted. And you know what? Right now, I wouldn't want to change anything about it. Last fall, I was making pumpkin soup in the kitchen. Cooking is usually my daily mindfulness practice. Cutting, stirring, and enjoying the food with my family. That day, I was on autopilot. No joy at all. I had been exhausted for several months from building my own new business, taking care of my daughter at home during the pandemic, and to return to the university to teach. I had a lot on my plate, and it wasn't the meal that I had planned. How convenient that I had been studying burnout as an occupational health psychologist and learned a lot about how to be exhausted without burning out. With my collaborators, Christian Dormann and Manuel Völkle, I had analyzed the relationship between exhaustion and job stressors across 48 studies with about 26,000 participants who were tracked over time. We found that job stressors increase exhaustion. Not a surprise at all. What is surprising is that exhaustion increases job stresses even more. So there's a vicious circle between job stresses and exhaustion. When I'm exhausted after a bad night's sleep, just the thought of tackling emails can become stressful to me. And I usually do like this task. Actually, answering emails takes longer because by the time I get to the end of the sentence, I might have already forgotten the beginning of the sentence. So because I'm exhausted, tackling emails has just turned into a job stressor for me, and that in turn exhausts me. So here I am, already caught in the middle of the vicious circle between job stressors and exhaustion. I think we've all experienced that dark side of exhaustion at some point in our lives. Now let me show you how the bright side of exhaustion can look like. My grandfather was a hard-working apple farmer with fingernails darkened by soil. His workplace was the apple farm. His job was to trim the branches, water the trees, and pick the apples. He never grew tired of seeing the trees blossom and the apples grow. It filled him with great joy to bite into a freshly picked apple and to share this sensation with his customers. Of course, he was exhausted most evenings outside of winter. His life was dependent on the weather, and there was uncertainty about finances. Still, a hearty dinner, a good night's sleep, and his trust in his ability to resolve any obstacles with some extra time, money, and effort were enough for him to recover. Nevertheless, I, as a kid, remember sometimes worrying whether this hard physical work would harm my grandpa. I was not alone in this worry. When talking to my parents and sister, however, we came to realize that Grandpa enjoyed this hard work with the apples. He seemed joyfully exhausted. Looking back, these conversations with my family about my grandpa's exhaustion taught me an important lesson. Exhaustion does not always equal harm. Recovery makes all the difference. When I'm thinking of recovery, I think of the research by the psychologists Sabine Sonnentag and Charlotte Fritz, who coined 4 different recovery experiences: psychological detachment, relaxation, mastery, and control. Psychological detachment is about not thinking about work during non-work time. I am hardly capable of experiencing this kind of recovery. Relaxation is about calming your body and mind. I usually relax when I'm watching TV or going out for a walk. Mastery is about accomplishing something. I like to master my desk clutter and a new song on my ukulele. And control is about having control over what to do during non-work time and how to do it. Well, that has changed a lot since I became a mother. There's also research on recovery activities. So-called low-duty recovery activities like physical exercise or having dinner with friends are related to recovery, whereas high-duty activities like household tasks and childcare are only related to recovery if you are motivated to do it. Evidence also shows that each of us is using different combinations of recovery activities and experiences, and that this changes day to day. So it's up to each of us to figure out how to recover best. And please, let us not forget about sleep as an essential part of recovery. If we really want to prevent burnout, conversations and actions, both by organizations and individuals, need to focus more on ensuring recovery than avoiding exhaustion. Today, I enjoy cooking dinner again. I left the university, and as a self-employed scientist, I'm sharing all of my knowledge about burnout with organizations to foster change towards healthier work environments where all of us can feel joyfully exhausted. And now, after painstakingly preparing and practicing this talk, and finally sharing my idea with you, I'm going to sit down and feel absolutely joyfully exhausted.